Сега се насочваме към един от най-старите и уважавани клубове в Англия, защото най-добрите бизнеси имат най-ангажираните потребители. Посрещаме Алекс Уелсби, дигиталния ум на Астън Вила, който ще ни разкрие всички тактики за по-силна връзка с феновете, чрез използването на данни, аналитични решения и маркетинг автоматизации. Alex, welcome.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Aston.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, and you won't be alone on the stage.
Yeah, no.
Искам да ви представя
Hopefully not.
Люк Ибетсън, главен изпълнителен директор на XCM, един от най-бързо развиващите се бизнеси в Европа в сферата на потребителските данни. Tell us a few words about Luke.
So,
Hi, welcome.
yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we've come here today. Thanks for coming out to listen to us as well. We really believe in the journey that kind of we've been on together over the last 3 or 4 years, and this is really about us kind of owning our fan data, and it's quite a unique position to be in at a football club, and how we utilize that data, and yeah, we'd like to tell that story.
And it would be very interesting to make a comparison after what we heard about the Champions League.
Yeah, for sure. Very exciting time.
Yeah, Alex likes to talk about that at the moment.
Okay, with success, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy your 20 minutes.
Cheers.
Cool. Hi, guys. Awesome day. Thanks, everybody, for staying around. It's obviously been a long day if everybody's been here since this morning. Really excited to come and tell the story, really. So I'm just going to tell you a story about the journey we've been on, and how we're starting to really get some exciting work going on with Aston Villa through what we're doing at XCM and the partnership we've got. So we'll be quite punchy, but we'll explain certain things because we've got quite a lot of visuals, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. So just quickly, I'm Luke Ibbotson, Managing Director of XCM, so mainly focused now on the growth strategy of the business and the products and services innovation, really, of what we're doing with our clients and how we're innovating our products, which I'll come on to, which is called Horizon. Alex, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I've been at Aston Villa since they returned to the Premier League in 2019-20. I'd like to take credit for exactly the trajectory we've taken and now top of the Champions League table, but it's not all down to me. I work in a central strategy team, so we provide insights to the whole organisation, and that's very much transformed over recent years. You know, we very much were in a marketing department, but people are starting to understand how data can be utilised and how we can provide, you know, deep insights into any of the products that we're developing. So since then, we've built out a team, and we have various analysts looking at different areas, so quite a centralised structure. And we also support the club with different research activities. So we're going to talk today a lot about first-party data, but it's really important that we're getting feedback, and we're looking at wider kind of syndicated data as well to understand how we're performing as a football club.
Cool. So we're just going to introduce Aston Villa to everybody really quickly, so everybody who knows their background and heritage and where they are today.
So yeah, we're a hot topic at the moment, as I mentioned. I think that's why the colleague that spoke before said that everyone's excited about the Champions League, you know, because we're sitting high at the top of the table at the moment. But Aston Villa has a very deep history, and actually that means a lot. You know, working for the organisation, we're founding members of the Football League, so league football, how it's played today, you know, perhaps wouldn't have been that way without, you know, one of our previous chairmen, William McGregor, writing those rules in the late 1800s. We're currently in our 150th anniversary season, so again, not many top-flight football teams have reached that landmark, so it's a really great time to celebrate that heritage. And as you can see, you know, what's on the screen here, all the trophies that we've won as well. You know, we're one of the most successful football teams in the UK, and you know, relative to how any teams perform their domestic campaigns, including winning the European Cup in 1982, so celebrating the anniversary of that recently. And as you can see, 7 league titles, 7 FA Cups. It's no mean feat. So, performing very well. As I said, I joined in 2019-20, just as we returned back to the Premier League. And Aston Villa had had a bit of a turbulent time before that. Financial difficulties, but new owners came in. There's been a fantastic amount of investment both on and off the pitch. And that's really so that we can become the most sustainable club that we can be. You know, financial regulations in football are almost a daily news topic at the moment, and the implications of those. But as you can see, we had a very successful, Europa Conference League campaign last season and eventually qualify for the Champions League, and obviously performing really well there at the moment. You have to forgive us, we were 4th when we created the slide, but unfortunately the weekend's result means we're now 6th, but still a very good start, only 2 losses across this season.
Cool. So just to give you some context, I'm going to introduce XCM. And I'll show you some clients in a minute, etc. But ultimately, this is what we kind of do. So lots of businesses with lots of data, right? You've heard a lot today about how we build and use AI and how we personalize and how we create more digital content in real time and all that stuff. You can't do that without having all your data in one place. And when I say all of your data, I mean all of the ecosystem. And so we work really hard with our clients to try and achieve that, which is not easy. And we'll show you through how we do that with Aston Villa shortly. So we do a lot around consolidating ecosystems of data. We've got lots of engineers and architects helping clients pull that together. That's lots of blood, sweat, and tears in rooms, figuring out solutions about how we pull data together, in order to then create intelligence, really, for people like Alex, so that he has a more holistic view of performance and customer and the fans, so he can make better decisions, and he can then use that downstream in terms of campaigning and creating content for fans and creating great experiences. And we also we're a partner that doesn't go away, so we really get involved with the roadmap. How are we going to achieve what we want to achieve? How are we going to define the commercial use cases? You know, it's to really make this a commercial proposition, not just a proposition to create experiences for fans, but also how do we drive KPIs and commercial revenue as well. So that's kind of what we do. We work with lots of different businesses in different sectors. We work in sport, retail, hospitality. We work with some massive companies like Frasers Group, 6 billion turnover, 30 different brands, 60 million customers worldwide, and also great businesses like Aston Villa, Silverstone, etc. So different sectors can help us kind of fertilize learnings, and when we build models and build analytics, we can share those learnings across different sectors, which is really useful. This is our customer data platform. So I don't know how many people know what that is, a customer data platform. It's quite complex now, and everybody's kind of saying they've got a customer data platform, what's called a CDP. We've built one with our view of what we think businesses need nowadays. So obviously the first part of that on the left is the integrate side. But what we're trying to integrate is essentially all of these touch points. And this is a sport example. So you think about if you guys sponsor follow a football team or any team really, or any sport, there's lots and lots of data sources that are being created. More difficult really than a retailer, for example. Because with retail, it's online sales, it's store sales, customers and orders. But with sport, you've got ticketing data sources, you've got membership, hospitality, you've got different apps with lots of content that people are viewing, you've got loyalty, you've got Megastore, you've got Club TV. There's loads, and most of these are all living in different technologies. So the challenge is, how do we get all that data together to create a single view of the fan, so we can see all the different touch points of that fan, and we can start to really understand who they are, how they behave, and then we can model that and start to use that onwardly in terms of predictive analytics and execution. So the integrate bit is really hard. We've pulled that together. Then it's about transforming that data into a single customer view, so you can see all that in one place. And then that gives businesses like Aston Villa and Alex the ability to really understand the fan holistically, which then we can power in terms of AI and analytics, predictive modeling, things like forecasting and campaigning, etc. What do we send to who and when? Is then modeling that in terms of some of the models that we use, which I'll show you in a minute, and then activating that data downstream in MarTech, in AdTech, etc. So it's really a brain that's sort of pulling the data together, enhancing it, empowering it, and then pushing it out into wherever it needs to go. And usually that's touching the fans essentially in one way or another. So that's Horizon. I'll just quickly go over this because today's about AI. So you guys will be getting, you signed up and buying from brands and everything else. Data science as a whole, but then machine learning models and then AI models, and they kind of cross over. So these are the types of models that we're using at XCM and with Aston Villa. So recommender models, so you guys will be getting recommended all sorts of things, right, based on your browsing activity. That's what they are, and that's looking at all the different touch points of what you're doing, and then trying to look at things like collaborative filtering to look at what similar products you might like. So there's lots of that going on at scale. Then the prediction side, so let's predict what you're going to do next. So the recommend is about what we're going to give you. The predict is about when we're going to give you it and via what channel. So they need to work together to figure out the best way to communicate in terms of what's next with a particular fan. And then the really sort of clever stuff is then at the end where essentially you're building more neural network models where essentially the model tells you what to do next. So you're not kind of using it to do campaigns and say, okay, I want recommendations in this email. It's actually telling you, send an email, send a push message at this time with this content. And that's really AI really telling, and the actual machine telling you what to do, which a lot of businesses aren't necessarily ready for yet, but we're starting to develop these concepts with our clients. Just quickly, some screenshots, because you kind of think, what does it look like? This is Horizon, so you can see we're showing all the profile here of the fan. You can see all the different interactions and activity. We're building out lots of dashboarding and intelligence and building out models for our clients, which is all quite custom based around what they want to see. We're creating analytics and visualizations, could be around mapping or around certain locations or whatever it might be. And then data activation. So how do you then trigger data downstream? And how do you activate those models in ad tech, in MarTech, maybe back into the client sources in customer service systems or apps or websites. So it's all about activating that data downstream. And just back to the CDP point, everything we've talked today is essentially the heart of it is data, right? And CDPs help integrate and power data. So the investment into CDPs, as you can see here, is growing significantly globally. So there's a high demand for the need for this. And if you're in a business that doesn't have one, then you need to really start seriously thinking about adopting these platforms. And finally, the technology is only one thing, though. Technology is only an opportunity. So if you've got all your data together and you've got the right tech, I'm still a big people person, and you still need people to work with it, and you need the right skills and resources, because ultimately this gives something like Horizon and what we've built gives the club more opportunity to do more. So sometimes that means more people, but there's more opportunity. So the people side and then the plan. What are we going to do, when we're going to do it, how are we going to realize that? And a lot of businesses forget the last two. They buy tech, stick it in, go away for 6 months, come back, oh, why has nothing changed? Because you didn't do the people and the plan bit. And that essentially is the solution that we're talking about. It's not just tech. And that's what we've done with Villa. So, right, talking about the partnership. 4 years ago, we met Villa, and we wanted to build something really special. So in sport, all that stuff I just talked to you about exists in other sectors quite a bit more. So in retail, in gaming, for example, it's quite advanced. But in sport, the clubs hadn't really invested in it yet. And there wasn't a lot of offerings either in the world to actually pull this together and have the capability. So when we talk to businesses now, or sports organisations, this is what we hear. We can't integrate our data together. We haven't got the people. We haven't got the skills. Processes are too slow. Solutions aren't bespoke enough. I don't want an off-the-shelf product that everyone else has got. I want to build something better. I want to be able to dictate what my analytics looks like and what my UI and my dashboards look like. And I want a partner to be able to achieve that. And also, we aren't working with the right people. So we try to combat all of those things within this partnership. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. That is essentially exactly where we were as a football club. We had to, really understand what data we were collecting and where were we getting it from, and actually how can we classify that? So how do we understand that the ticketing platform is providing us with this data, the online website is providing with this data, but how do I know that Luke is the same Luke that's coming through our ticket platform? It's the same Luke that's just been onto our app or has just looked at Villa TV. So, the starting point was really about evaluating that data. What data exists in our business? How can we bring that together? From that, you get the data that might be input by a fan, so the details that they register on the ticket website, but then you start to look at patterns of behavior and interactions, and how can I capture that data? How can I integrate that data into my systems? Again, other use cases of that. What content are they watching? What is their preference when it comes to the home kit, away kit, third kit? All of this stuff really helps in understanding our fans. So first step, classifying the data, starting to understand behaviors, and then really we can look at the frequency of those actions and actually activating that data, so pushing it out into different platforms.
Sorry, it's okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. This is. I bet you're all looking at this going, what is that? But Alex is going to talk around this now. But what we also did, as well as looking at the data, what about the fan? What do they see? What do they, as fans ourselves, how do we think and how do we match the data and the integration and the analytics to the hearts and minds of the fan? And so you have to put yourself in their shoes to then be able to achieve the use cases that are really cool. And so we looked at this and thought, well, what are all the different areas that a fan can engage with? I can browse, I can buy, I can visit the stadium, I can go online, all the things that we want to do, and also the fan journeys that they go through. So this one on the right here is basically a match day. So thinking about buying the ticket could be 2 weeks before actually, the game happens, and then the travel, the weather, the fan zone, meeting friends, all of these things are happening, and we want to try and create really strong, meaningful relationships with those fans, and that all really has to come from data that we're collecting and how we're talking to them. Alex?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, in the particular diagram here, you might think of a football match day as the day the fixture is played, but the first time you're thinking about that game is perhaps 4 weeks ago, when I'm looking to buy the ticket. Talking to a colleague here today looking to buy tickets to our game against Juventus in a few weeks' time. When does that journey start? What information are we providing at that point in time? Have we encouraged them to be in our ecosystem long enough so that they're getting the marketing messages around the ticketing? And yeah, as the diagram shows, we can really map out what I was talking about before as, what data is collected, or is there an opportunity to bring more data in, and then we can teach the models, we can look at the things that are going to be more predictive and understand what's the next best action for those fans. And just the last point, sorry, on that particular slide, this is a match ticket journey, or a match day journey of a fan from 2 weeks before to sort of 2 weeks after. But there are domestic fans. They're fans that are able to attend Villa Park. We also have to think about, fans all over the world that engage with Aston Villa in different ways. And so, focusing just on ticketing, as an example, is great for those people that we know that are going to come week in, week out. But are we delivering the right products and journeys for people that can't or are not fortunate enough to do that may be watching our content online? So this mapping exercise is really quite pivotal to how we actually understand how our fans are behaving with us.
Awesome. And then this is what we built. So you won't really be able to read all of these things, but all of them data points we were talking about are all up there and inputs in terms of the platform. So we spent 6 months in rooms scoping this out, starting to build all these integrations. There's probably 20 plus integrations that we've had to build in different ways, which is why people don't do it, because it's hard. People give up. But we had a relentless pursuit to not do that, and we wanted all of the data. So it was difficult, and we had to be patient, and we had to do new things as well. There were things that we hadn't done before that we had to do and figure out and problem solve. So all this data's coming in. So things like the marketing execution platform, which is an SAP product, Microsoft Dynamics, which is used for hospitality. Urban Zoo's the app provider for Aston Villa. We need to integrate the app and see, well, who's browsing what, who's looking at what content. SeatGeek's ticketing platform. Fanatics is their retail provider. Fortress is access control. So when you've got your ticket, boom, I'm in the stadium. We know immediately in real time that you're there and what time it is, who you are, and what to do next. That's a really cool use case that we'll show you in a minute. And then all the others, there's more things around sentiment, surveys, forms, preferences, data from the Premier League. So really, and there's more. There is more that we can do, and more that we're working on. So when we show people this, even, I'm not saying Aston Villa's not a massive club, but even like the big boys, they're impressed, and because they haven't managed to achieve it, because it's not easy. And now we're starting to see the gains from it. And I've talked you through Horizon already, and then obviously then we're pushing data downstream in terms of fan communications, and also data back into those source systems to make them better, give them better quality data. And that's really what the CDP is all about in the analytics.
Just add a few more bits on that, if that's all right.
Yeah?
Yeah, just a back goal. And there's data sources. We talked about first-party data, but feeding these models and other things that inform us are, wider data. So it might not be appended to a customer record. How can we utilize that data? So, if our social media following is growing in a specific market, that might mean that we want to look at, our database and our fans that we know in that market and how we can activate to them in different ways, particularly when it comes to, the value that this creates, not just for us as a club, but all the partners that we bring in as well. So those partnerships, we want to be meaningful. We want to help grow their businesses as well as grow ours. And some of the other use cases of pushing the data back out is this is not just for me and for my team and for Luke's team. This is about making sure everybody in the organization has access to the data. So we can push this data back out now. So where the ticketing team might just be using their ticketing platform in isolation, they're only seeing one part of the whole story of Luke's journey with Aston Villa, as an example. We can push that data back out into customer service platforms, and that way we can give a better overall service to our fans.
Cool. And then this is all about this next slide. Try again. Yeah. This is kind of what the output is. This is why we did it all. This is all the hard work coming to pay us back. So essentially, this is one fan, Abigail Taylor, and all the data sets working together. So we've got demographic data. So we know her affluence. We know about presence of children. We know age. We're inferring age. We know where she lives, etc. Then we've got life stage. So what status is she as a fan? Where does she live? Is she a super loyal fan coming to all the games? She's on the app. She's engaged across the club, or has she just been once and lives in another country? So all of that comes into it. Season ticket tenure, social media usage, digital counts, Villa TV. So the channels that she's engaging with, her behavior, and then also the predictive elements. So the stuff down there on the bottom right-hand side. What are we going to do next? And when you've got millions of customers, we can't all look at every customer and decide that, right? So you've got to do it at scale, and you've got to sort of segment and personalize different parts of the audiences, and then offer them essentially what's the next best proposition for Abigail. So that's essentially all the analytics coming together to give us an opportunity to create a better relationship with Abigail.
Yeah, so we just wanted to extend on a point Luke was just making about, okay, we know who the fan is, we've brought all of this data together, and we've got different opportunities to send communications out or to market to these fans. This particular example here, and we're going to talk about the solutions and the technology and the systems the fan has to go through to activate this, but how Horizon enables this for us. So a fan will purchase their ticket in the ticket platform. They'll be provided the ticket. We will then send the ticket out. So that goes via our email, so we know if they've opened it, engaged with it, etc. And we can send alerts if they haven't. They'll then arrive at the stadium and they'll scan their ticket. So the access control system, another system that will then tell us when they arrived. We can then feed that data straight into an app push, as an example. So we have something that's been live for a couple of seasons now, where as soon as somebody scans into the grounds, then we can send them an offer. And then we can utilize, actually, we know what time they came in. So if they came in an hour and a half before, and we're running a promotion on food and beverage, that can be the offer that goes to Abigail Taylor in this example. Or it might be that they arrived late, and they arrived 5 minutes before kickoff. Now, this time, we might not be promoting something instantly in real time, but we can start to pull those fans together. Why are they turning up 5 minutes before? Do they know about the product offering that's at Villa Park on a match day? How can we get them to potentially increase spend? Or if for them it's about the experience isn't what they want, how do we deliver an experience that ultimately will attract them to come to the ground earlier? So this is really just an example of taking data from across multiple platforms in real time and being able to act and engage on it.
Cool. And this is the engineering behind it. But this essentially is what we build in the platform around all the different decisions that happen, that the analytics is telling us, but also what we, as commercial people and marketeers and brand guys for the club around, well, what do we want to control the message? How do we want to say that? So all the creative coming together as well. And this essentially is a journey that we've mapped out that's live now and automates. So you don't need to touch this. It's just working. And this is how ultimately we're going to get automation and scale, because you can't always manually send stuff out, right? So this is a complete different journey for different fans of when they come into the club, based on what source, what channel are they going to get, what content, what if they engage, we do this. If they don't engage, we do that. And that's really all of that. We wouldn't be able to do that if we didn't have all the data together and we didn't have the analytics powering it.
Yeah, 100%. The only thing that needs to be touched on this is updating the creative and the content. Like Luke said, this particular journey has been running for 3 years, uninterrupted. These are fans that are coming in from the Premier League, and these are being onboarded as we recognize it's the first time they've come into our ecosystem. We can decide, did they come in through fantasy football? Therefore, we might send some kind of player profile type communications to them. Did they come in because they registered at an event in the USA that the Premier League hosted? Therefore, we can tell them about our kind of product offering in that area. And this isn't as complicated as it looks to build. All of the data points in here or that exist in our database allow us to build this with relative ease.
Cool.
Yeah, so a really important moment for football clubs across their season is the kit launch. This year we've benefited from bringing in first market-leading partners in Adidas, Betano. We've had Trade Nation Renew on the sleeve. This is a great opportunity to generate exposure for them, but also to deliver a product for our fans that they want to buy. Really at the start of the season, this is one of the most look forward to moments, most anticipated moment, and we have both a home kit, away kit, and a third kit. They're not all released at the same time, so you're looking at a 2 to 3 month sales window where new products are being released. And so it's not always just about the real-time automations, the welcome journeys. Having that data in one place allows us to get into the more technical stuff, the data science. So every season we run some analysis on who buys our kits. We segment those fans. We like to understand if they're perhaps buying for themselves, if they're buying for their family. And as you can see by the results, this is clearly having a positive effect on our sales.
Yep, awesome. Cool. So now just looking forward to 1 minute. So yeah, really quickly, what's coming next?
Yeah, so first and foremost, it really is a time to enjoy being an Aston Villa fan. These moments, and for Aston Villa to have gone on that trajectory and to now be succeeding in the competitions and having consistent success, we need to back that up as well on the business side. And there's been, we're fortunate to have fantastic owners and ownership group that will invest in us. But we have to create growth and sustainability, and data really is a key part of that. How do we, generate and sustain our commercial revenue? And ultimately, part of that is to do with international growth. We're benefiting from things like the Champions League. It's broadcast around the world. We need to be able to bring those fans into our ecosystem, and perhaps fans that are fans of players like Emi Martinez. How do we get them to stay with us? And technology systems is all part of that. It's a constant moving part. The ecosystem that Luke showed is, forever being updated, and we want the club to see all of that. So going through digital transformation processes, understanding how that data can feed into different tech, whether that's things like VR, which we use for sales and different experiences to fans that might be at Villa Park or around the world. And then, the hot topic of AI. You wouldn't be able to unlock the potential if your data wasn't structured and in a place ready to utilize. The deeper and richer that we create our data set, the more, the greater the benefit we'll get from such technology.
I think we're a little bit out of time, so we'll leave it there. It was a good one to end on, Alex. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
Cheers.
Thank you.